Ebusuya, a more call about the daily update TV so. And then I'll show you made in and subscribe to my YouTube channel, no like and no share now the comment so I shall comment section. Debia said they and a better brain I can make tea for any for you so be. The issue on board any discussing. I can Agyapong and a kusket amia church say. What did he a year Chief Justice at them? Na asema waka no ye nyina nim ensema etwa gu ye eye afenyo markings we ne leader ekofale expert motion e de call eye Supreme Court ne nyina ne say speaker ako declare seat be vacant wa bra when seeking the interpretation of the Supreme Court. It with this expert motion no eye Supreme Court so egitum e grantee a year afenyo markets in which Eka says speaker should what stay off execution. Now no semi be trending bebre emaniko PM was Supreme Court on paying for tenase bobo baba and seminimo ema Supreme Court grabeka say and semina ubuaye no ubua say speaker and stay off execution speaker so any legal team ne fale so ma reject it. Na no na kwaku skirt ebo video ni mu no wakase Agyapong omumbo video bi a Agyapong edidi Chief Justice atem because ye nyina nim say ebia sida maka na Agyapong didi judges for bi atem ene Chief Justice atem enti no wakase Agyapong didi Chief Justice atem enye nwanwa because didi sitting judges for atem say omaka shembi edi etia no bushia yenkotie yenkohwesa infoni no kwaku skirt yenfa credit mano na I daily update so na hwe dwumade no so na subscribe my YouTube channel no like na share menyu free na yes koso and share dwumade no. God bless you.
Where aye kwasi pride akanze bebri uye kanenia said ye guso kan se court na wo hono and it does so be a nim maka na ni bi if we say Godfred wodame kra wo ye kan na nyina ye lawyer attorney general no o man ne mra trese munya asem a ono na kokache no ntwitwa njem matenne ukokan wasam kire Godfred wodame se wanya asem wo court nko gina ma obeyi atwato atwe and the court aye no se Ghana yamfa ni bre and 2 MPP party near mankofo way another chance come one e kan okre e kan yankopon hataso se mo man no muntumi ntram because obi be ka se obi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na kono no omra Bawumia se wo ko
bedi atuo you are destroying people's business. The party is for all of us. We are not scared of nobody. We are not. Read my lips. We are not scared of nobody. And nobody can use anybody's name to intimidate anybody in this party. You Alex what? What do you open who near better? Now who am you amu yede den? Mon kobi sa wayomi. Na mo misa Coco board guy and friends say.
Yeah, Dr.
Opuni. Me ba si ya netie. Me ba say ya netie.
Submarine approach.
And there's more whatever. Meba, say I am not afraid of any human being. I will always speak the truth. And nobody, I say nobody, is above the law. We are all Ghanaians. You cannot use anybody's name to intimidate anybody in this country. It won't work. It won't work. Because we are all Ghanaians. We are all Ghanaians. Now, Momo prefer Ayarikov, secretary, when you can consult to a young man. You know, the first time I talked about this young man, MPP Women's Wing were calling me, giving me evidence of the guy's
about
contribution.
A company, okay? GL for
no, Afano, the contribution.
Okay.
Now this guy is using Bedi Etio's name everywhere.
Well, does it mean say
producer or Agyapong court asam no ho sa video no ho ha fatun mam some kind we di judge for na time di Chief Justice atem no no Ebra wo hwe send the justice alaba Torkono ne bu afu Said you know kasa and 10 kasa. Hey, mama, and your tax money they do to go. And your tax money. So what's the car could be a company? So what's the car? Can be a office? Can one mama go for them foul? And this is a way you grow far. You're right to say cattle. Because she bright. Akasa. You go to
including laws enshrined in the Constitution and so on. Eminent jurists have established a principle of law. Do they want an outcome such as this one and so on? You understand? Now, all these are matters of principles which I suspect are not challengeable. These are principles which the legal practice, judicial practice and so on have established over the years, and I think it's important to apply them at all times. Now, yesterday, after reading the judgment of the 5 justices, I heard the Chief Justice, in a very angry mood, pose the question, why have we come to this? Why is Parliament not sitting and so on? Is that the business of the Chief Justice? Whether or not Parliament should be in session or not is clearly the duty of the Speaker. The Speaker calls Parliament into session. The Speaker is the one who adjourns Parliament, definitely or indefinitely, and so on. What has that got to do with the Chief Justice? In any case, why was Parliament adjourned? Parliament was adjourned because it didn't have the numbers to take decisions. It is not because of the Speaker's decision. It is not because of the injunction which was being sought in court and so on. Parliament simply could not have the numbers to take decisions, and that's why Parliament was adjourned. Is the Chief Justice in any way suggesting that Parliament should sit when it doesn't have the quorum to take decisions? Is that what the Chief Justice is suggesting? And if that is not what she's suggesting, and she's acting in her capacity as a citizen rather than a Chief Justice, and she's entitled to that, perhaps what she ought to do is to advise members of Parliament of the New Patriotic Party not to boycott parliamentary procedures. In order that we shall have the numbers to do business. That's all. And she can do that in her capacity as a citizen. That does not lie in the mouth or actions of the Chief Justice, but it lies in the mouth and actions of any and every citizen. And the Chief Justice indeed has a right as a citizen to make appeals to members of Parliament not to unduly and unreasonably, boycott parliamentary procedures so that we can get business done. And I have no quarrel with that. Now, one of the issues which came up yesterday was the claim that the Speaker's lawyers had not filed their responses to the matter which had been raised by the plaintiffs in the case, and therefore they were unduly delaying the process. Now, I'm a lay person. I didn't go to law school. But listen, what happened in court yesterday was the Speaker, represented by his lawyers, asking the Supreme Court to set aside decisions that it had made. Asking the Supreme Court to take note of the fact that the process before it was improperly filed. So if the Supreme Court had decided yesterday that the Speaker was right, there would have been no case pending before it for anybody to respond to. Okay? Now, unless the Speaker's lawyers believed that the case they were sending to the Supreme Court was frivolous, had no merit, and so on, how could they have filed responses to a matter that they thought had been irregularly brought before the Supreme Court? So I think that the lawyers of the Speaker acted properly and demanded an extension of time to enable them to file, their responses and so on. And yet the Chief Justice was so angry that at one point she actually asked lawyer Sorry whether they should go ahead without him. member of parliament. You understand? So it's strange. Then the other thing which struck me yesterday was the reference to caucuses in parliament. There are no longer caucuses in parliament. You know, at the end of the last elections, the NDC had 137 seats and the NPP had 137 seats. So we had a hung parliament. But there was one independent candidate. So the matter was referred to the speaker for a ruling as to whether or not we can have a majority caucus and a minority caucus. And I remember very clearly the speaker giving a decision which says that there are no caucuses anymore and that there's a majority group and a minority group. So where from this majority caucus and minority caucus that the Supreme Court referred to yesterday? I cannot believe it. Okay. Now, Massa, it's important because if you look at Article 97, H and G of the 19th Constitution, it is clear that it does not allow crossing carpet in Parliament. That the independent candidate could not have become a member of the MPP caucus because it would have implied that he had crossed carpet and therefore would have had to lose his seat for a by-election to be conducted in his constituency. So the speaker very cleverly declared the existence of a majority group and a minority group. You understand? Now, I disagree with the speaker. I disagree with the speaker on grounds that the standing orders of parliament envisages a situation where there always has to be a majority and a minority. The reality after the last elections suggests that there wasn't no majority and there was no minority. So what needed to be done was a recrafting of the standing orders of parliament to fit this new situation. Now, either because of laziness or because of the way to cling to tradition and so on, we still maintain this position of majority and minority and found a very clever, perhaps disingenuous way of declaring one side a minority group and the other side majority group. That is where this problem is coming from. You understand? That is where this problem is coming from. Because if you have an independent candidate in parliament who declares that for all times, for the 4-year life of parliament, he will be aligned to a particular party, Massa, directly, not indirectly, he has crossed carpet of election disputes and so on, ends at the Court of Appeal. And another panel, headed by the current Chief Justice, decides that no, it doesn't end there, it actually ends at the Supreme Court. That's interesting. It's for lawyers and people who know better, to educate. One thing which was very striking yesterday was also the decision that one of the judges that the speaker's lawyers were asking to recuse himself would not do so because
Abusua kwa pasado ba daily update TV. So na wo share ya no subscribe my YouTube channel no, like and share and for comment show. Esem ne kotie ne nyina ye trending na ekwozi say ye hu left and right. Say parliament ebe resume. So resume because of late we say council of elders abema che so my day. Oma kwa yera speaker, I'm a speaker, so I have to say, okay. Say no, obey and answer obey resume parliament. And seven so obey any gisem. But in him saying seven is say the Torkono. A year Supreme Court, and also say, or marriage speaker, ni legal team no, and some almost so and the by Abusia, I daily update TV so. And then I'll share and I'll subscribe and I'll share. It is showing baby a corner for your markets and a coffers and seguin in a buy. I was a speaker, I declare seat be vacant on one day. One tea, I see, ɛna ɛkɔfa ahyɛ nsɛm wei nyinaa ɛde baeɛ mede wobɛsi ase yi ɛnam sɛ nsɛm no ɛdɔɔso nti no yɛbɛkɔ akɔfa nsɛm foforɔ de abɛso mo na mɛma ɔrɛ sɛ wobɛsubscribe ama YouTube channel no subscribe no like na ɔdɔ comment so ahyɛ hɔ ama yɛ yɛbɛgye berɛ na yɛkan ama atiefoɔ ne ahwɛfoɔ nyinaa nso ate bi nti nsɛm no baabi ɛkɔ no ɛna yɛso yɛgu so a yɛfollow sɛde bɛyɛ a wo nsa ɛbɛka bi na wo nso watumi anya dwumadi no. God bless you, pa. Let me show you.